Where's Vrabel? What's going on with him? I mean, I'd want to hire him, and again, he'd be on my list.
Well, absolutely. And over the weekend, we posted an item that was a very preliminary based on what I was hearing, kind of a match game of who goes where. The Raiders and Vrabel makes sense. Albert Breer pointed out last week the relationship between Tom Brady and Mike Vrabel. Tom Brady's still got a pending deal to buy part of the Raiders. That may never get approved, but still Brady's involved with the Raiders. The betting markets have shown Vrabel creeping up the stack as one of the favorites to be the Seahawks coach. Now, over the weekend, Dan Quinn was the favorite, but I don't know how you sell Dan Quinn to any fan base after giving up 48 points to the Packers and Jordan Love on Sunday. If I'm Mike Vrabel, I'm waiting to see what happens in Pittsburgh. That's a place that drafted him. We had assumed he was going to potentially land in New England where he won a couple of Super Bowls. Pittsburgh drafted him, and I'd also want to wait and see what happens in Kansas City. That's where he finished his playing career. And if Andy Reid retires after the season, and he said last week he's given no thought to it whatsoever, I think there's reason to believe the Chiefs are at least, putting on the radar screen the possibility of it happening based on how this postseason goes. If Reid walks away, hey, there's only one team out there that's got Patrick Mahomes. And if I'm Mike Vrabel, I want to see if there's a chance there before I would commit anywhere else. But Pittsburgh, he just seems like the perfect Steelers coach if Mike Tomlin would decide to move on.
I'm with you, man. I'm stunned that they just fired him. I mean, you had an interesting post as well. I think I reached out to you as well. About ownership in the NFL and whether some people are ready for it. I'll give you the floor. Honestly, I'll give. It's kind of a third rail, but go for it, Mike. Go for it.
I guess it's more of a third rail for you than me because I don't work for them.
I got it.
But I'm only one step removed.
But I'm giving you the floor on my show.
I appreciate it, and I respect you for it. Look, if you want to drive a car. And this is where the judge would say, I hope you're going somewhere with this counselor. if you want to drive a car, you've got to go take 2 tests. Mm-hmm. You've got to go prove in writing that you're qualified. And then you got to get behind the wheel and you got to do it to the satisfaction of the examiner. To own an NFL franchise, there's no requirement whatsoever. There's no test that you take. You just need to either have enough money that you're the high bidder to buy the team. You don't have to know anything about football. You just have to have cash. Or you have to have the right DNA or the right marriage relationship. It's either family or marriage that gets you in a position where you inherit a team when someone dies. And there's no guarantee that the person who inherits the team, and we've seen it throughout the league, it's more common than not that you've got teams managed by people who didn't buy them. Not that the person who buys them has any qualifications in the first place, but this team passes around within the family member to family member. Inevitably, it's going to land in the lap of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. And my point is, none of them have any objective qualifications to do it. And I know that the approach that I've suggested as an alternative wouldn't be perfect, but look at Green Bay, where you have a corporation, where you have a CEO. Mark Murphy didn't just roll out of bed one day and become the CEO of the Packers. He earned it. He's proven that he's qualified to run an NFL organization. If all of these teams became corporations and had CEOs and boards of director and shareholders, there would be a lot more accountability. Jed York once said you can't fire an owner. If they were all corporations, you could fire the CEO. And some fan bases, Rich, and I'm not going to name names, they're just stuck until the current owner sells it or dies. There's nothing you can do. And it's one dysfunctional mess after another. The Commanders fans lived through it until Daniel Snyder finally cashed in. That's what fascinates me, because I look at a coach like Mike Vrabel and I say, if you know what you're doing, all due respect to Amy Adams Strunk, if you know what you're doing, you work it out with Mike Vrabel. You don't get upset because he said nice things about the Patriots when he was inducted into the team's Hall of Fame. And you're miffed because by implication, he was saying bad things about the Titans. You work it out with a great head coach and you keep him around as long as possible. That's one of the great flaws. And it's one of the things that makes it so fascinating, Rich, covering the NFL. You've got basically mom and pop operations that are worth $10 billion. It's incredible to cover it and to opine about it and to touch the third rail or, jump on it with both feet.
Well, again, becoming commissioner isn't, Roger Goodell didn't inherit it. He's a CEO of the company, and does such a great job of it when he's got 32 other owners who might have been in the position that you're just saying. And I just said that to try and make sure I'm in good shape.
But that's
after
the great
giving
difference.
you the floor
That's a great
on
difference.
That,
Okay, imagine if the NFL, the entire NFL was family owned like all the teams, and the commissioners just handed down to this cousin or that son or this spouse or this. It's ridiculous if you think of it that way. I mean, take a step back. This is ridiculous, but it's what we're left with.
Well, it's in all sports, too, for sure. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.